Hey guys, Chris from Virtual Motorsport Mentor here, and today we are previewing Mangy Cours in the GT4 for the Falken Tyre series. So, same as the last, I think we're up to week 5 now, so the last 4 weeks. We'll take you for a slow lap, point out some features, and then there'll be a fast lap at the end of the video. Really appreciate everybody watching these, supporting us by subscribing, liking the videos. It goes a long way. It definitely helps us. So we'll get into this one. This one's probably not a very strong track for me, so I'll give you the best advice I can give you. Hopefully it helps, and yeah, we'll get into it. So just coming down into turn 1. As far to the right hand side as possible. I use the end of this like sort of pit wall on the outside as sort of a little marker. I just tap the brake to get the car to pivot and to lose a little bit of momentum coming in here, because like you just can't carry too much speed. Because it sort of messes up the whole next section. So you want to sort of tap the brake, get the car as close to this apex as possible, then let the car run out nice and wide right out to the outside. Try not to go over the curb butt, because it puts you on a funny line. So if you're sort of as close to the curb as possible without going on that green stuff, you'll be able to sort of straight line the car back across at this next corner. So through here, you want to clip this. I'm 4th gear the whole way through this, and I find that I'm getting to 3rd as you get to this sort of, I guess you could say, the arc of the corner, really, because I look at this corner like a double apex. So I clip it on the way in, I let the car run nice and wide out near that pit cone, and then I rotate the car and carry a lot more speed on the exit. It's just the way I feel comfortable doing it. Other guys might have a different thing, but yeah, so clip it there. 3rd gear, let the car run out nice and wide, and then you should be able to start dancing on the throttle to get it back to full speed. And you want to get to the curb on the inside again, roughly in line with that 3rd board. So if you sort of look straight ahead with sort of driver's perspective, we're right at the end of that 3rd sign behind the fence, and that's where I sort of go, right, I can get on the throttle hard here and carry the speed out. So carry it all the way out, use all the track. You want to get to the curb, don't run it over the back because you'll get an off track, and then carry the speed through, up through all the gears. Alright, so this next section is a big braking zone. I use 1st gear to rotate at Adelaide hairpin. Some of you might use 2nd, I just find comfortably for myself. And you want to brake. It's about 100. Well, the white line is 150, so the 3rd white line is 150. So I'm sort of a little bit after it, so I'm probably around that 130, 125 mark. So that's where I start to brake. So I'm probably looking around about here. So sort of when your pillar of your car is nearly clearing the 100-meter board sign. I'm sort of around that area. Obviously, when you're in a racing condition, that's the last thing you're going to be looking at. But yeah, it's for that optimum hot lap. That's sort of where I'm looking, is just around there. So top gear all the way back to 1st. Stay nice and wide on the entry, because you want to sort of turn back on the hairpin. So I stay nice and wide. Nearly, not quite to the end of the curb, but pretty close to the end of that curb. Turn the car back on itself, clip the apex on the exit, and you'll square the corner up nice and quick. Use all this track on the exit. I even sometimes run over this a little bit. No off track there. And then up through the gears. So as you're lining up for this one is quite deceiving on how fast you can actually take it. So I use the 50-meter board. I stay in 4th gear. I just tap the brake to lose a little bit of momentum. but then I accelerate through the corner. So I kind of changed my driving style here a little bit to be more of an open wheel style, where you're trying to accelerate through the corner, where sometimes I use more of a momentum based corner sort of approach with GT cars. So just changing your style at different corners helps sometimes. So fourth gear through here, get as close to this first apex as you can. Try not to hit that little sausage curb because it upsets the car, but you can use all the red and white, and then carry the speed across in fourth. And I put nearly half the car, so I'm about there, sort of coming through the corner. So my my left tyres are on the green bit of the track. So, and I'm just sort of not shortcutting it, but just making the track as short as possible to carry more speed through there. So then you come running down here. I use fourth gear, I use the end of the curb and a nice big brake zone down 2 gears. Now this one's a tricky one because you can approach the line in 2 different ways, but I kind of don't like the exit of one of the lines because it goes over the curb on the exit and there's a huge bump in it. So I brake quite heavy and sort of miss the first apex, and then I apex on the exit of the corner coming out, and I avoid the curb on the right hand side at all costs, because if you're carrying too much speed, you'll push wide here and you'll end up clipping this gnarly little bump right here, and it really moves the car around. You feel a little bit out of control, so it's just minimizing that sort of stuff. I find the GT4 cars wriggle around a lot because they don't have that aero grip that the GT3s do, so just staying away from that sort of stuff is just one less thing you have to worry about in a race. You know, if you hit that, you're in a battle, and then you're all of a sudden bouncing through the air sideways, it does make it a lot harder. So, alright, and then coming up here, you get up to fourth gear. It's pretty straightforward. It's a nice straight area. You want to brake at the 50 and down to third. So you get to the 50, back to third gear. When you pitch the car in, get nice and close to the first apex again. Very similar to the other chicane, just the opposite way really when you're going back up the hill. Use a little bit. I don't use as much on this one because I find it pushes me across. I want to set myself up about mid-track here. Sort of deters anybody from having a lunge, but then it gives you enough time to get back across to the outside of the road to open up the corner. So, and then I brake in third gear at the end of the big curb, start of the little curb, and then back to second gear. And as I turn in quite, I wouldn't say late, it's kind of a sort of medium apex turn in time. Get nice and close to that apex on the inside, then let it carry all the speed out, but be very careful because you touch that green stuff, you're getting an off track straight away, and the car is loaded up, and if it grabs it the wrong way, I find you get like a lot of oversteer on exit there. So you got to sort of balance it a little bit. So then head down the hill. It's kind of like Imola, this section, just the opposite direction to where you would be going at Imola. So head down the hill. You've got to brake a little bit earlier than you would expect. I'm sort of braking around that F board, just a little bit after it. So probably around about here, I would say. Because I find the car, when you're braking down here, the car's sort of on its ABS limit, so it's not happy. So because you're going downhill, you're carrying a lot of momentum. So I just brake a little bit earlier here to help with the cut back coming through the final chicane. So stay nice and wide. Second gear, turn in. Use all that curb. You're going to run the car right out to the curb on the outside. And then this one's... I still haven't found the ideal line through here. I kind of felt like cutting the curb was the quickest way, but because the car bounces around a lot, I'm kind of thinking that you want to stay off the curb as much as possible. So I'm trying to use maybe about that much curb there, but you'll see, like, it's hard to get right, you know what I mean? And then same with this one, I try and avoid completely because it's a much bigger bump on the exit, and then I just carry all the speed out, use all this green runoff bit you can, there's no off track there, And then there you go, guys. That's a lap. So what we'll do is we'll warm the tyres up and we'll give you a lap at speed now. Thank you.